So here's our cloud image that we'll use for this test. And basically we want to extract the cloud out. So we're going to duplicate the layer just to have the original below it. Select a mask from the channels and get something with high contrast so that we can pull a matte from it. So I've duplicated the red channel. I'm going to add a curve to get even more contrast from that channel. And you can see here I'm brightening and darkening the background so we can lift the cloud off of it. And then you want to you can even dodge and burn the brights and the darks of the cloud to help you with your selection. And there we go. Now, what I'm doing now is using the highlights to blow those out with the tool so that you'll get a much more solid edge around the cloud. And I try to really keep my opacity low for my brush because I want to make sure I keep the quality of the cloud, of its edges, solid. And then you can switch back once you have a good perimeter and you can paint pure white in the center to basically make the masking out easier. And then you can go back in and refine, going back and forth from the inside edge to the outside edge, either dodging or burning to just get that better mask. And once you get something that's relatively good enough, then you can kind of end. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can always go back into this afterwards and make a better refinement. So here I'm just going to brighten and darken a little bit more. And now we'll just make the mask from that. So here you can see I have a mask selection. And I'm just going to do some quick paint work to remove the little bit of slop here and there. And then to see this better, what you can do is you can always add a layer between your layer. Here I'm just going to add a solid color because it's interactive, so you can easily just go back and forth and dial in a color that works well for you. Just do a little further cleanup a little bit here and there. So now, you can just keep going around the edge of your cloud with the light brush tool to feather in or add or subtract the edges of your cloud. And right here I'll just duplicate and I'm going to add a curve, and you can clip the curve to your cloud element. And this would be my normal way of adding contrast, less changing the color adjustment. So I've added another layer, and then basically you can make the mask part of the selection by collapsing it, and you can do a defringe on your element. It's a nice little tactic where it'll eat into the whole image, but you need to delete the mask in order to get it to work. And then what I'll typically do is you can add a layer, clip that layer to your element, and then keep color picking the area around your piece, or you could even clone, and then basically do a little bit of a paint out to refine the edge of your cloud. And as you can see, as I do this a little bit with the blue behind, you start to have a nice fall off between the two elements. So that's another way that you could work with this. So now that I have that element, I've duplicated it, and we could try another way to go, which is color overlay as a style layer. So with color overlay, you can basically select any color and then opacity and dial in and out how it affects that layer. And this is a great technique to doing shadows and highlights. And you can see here I've duplicated the layer again, and it still has the color overlay, but now I've actually turned that layer into a screen mode and basically changed the color of the color overlay to a bright. And now I added a mask, and you can basically start painting in highlights to your element that's editable. And on the bottom, that could be your shadow area. So right here I duplicated again, and I turned off the effects layer to it. So now what you can have is you can have your base image with nothing on it. You can have your effects layer that is just your shadow tones that I'm painting in now. And then you can have your highlight layer that is a screen mode that will only affect where you want brights to go. And each layer has a clipping mask so that you can really dial in the elements as you want them, and then you can dynamically change the color on it. and then you just rename them. Right now I'm just naming it base CL for cloud, and then you'll have shadow and then highlight, and then you can group this whole cloud. And then literally, you can do brush strokes, you can do cloning. It's a real good way that's non-destructive in terms of working on your element or elements to start refining how you want the lighting scenario to work. And it's all dynamic.